Hi everybody, it's Irene with BrainStormAcres, and today I'm going to share a happy coincidence that we had this year in our kitchen. So the other day I was cleaning the cabinet that we use for storing potatoes and onions and stuff like that, and I discovered a bag that had gotten shuffled. Now usually when we cook we use sweet onions, and they're usually the giant ones, to be honest, and if we don't use a whole one at the same time, we'll just store it in the fridge and it'll get used next time. Last year we grew, pardon me, I have a bug trying to bite me. Last year we grew, I can tell I'm going to have to kill him. I missed him. We have these nasty little biting flies right now. Anyway, last year I grew candy onions. And towards the end of the season, a bunch of them, the tops fell over on them. And I did not pay any attention to what size they were. If the tops fell over on them, to me it meant they were done for the year. I pulled them out, I dried them a little bit, and then I stashed them. Well, there were a whole stack of little onions that went in here. Now, this stays open, but that's what they look like. Well, I found these, and there's still a stack of them. We ate a bunch of them when I first pulled them, and then they just kind of got shuffled to the back as we were doing a lot of bigger projects that required large quantities of onions, so it didn't make any sense to chop up 23 of these. Well, there's nothing wrong with them. They're nice and firm. So I'm going to plant these as if they were onion sets that I'd bought at the store. As I mentioned in an earlier video, we were not able to get onion sets this year. I have plenty of seeds, and I have got a few started in the greenhouse right now, but that's not the way we normally grow them. We normally pick up some onion sets. Now we're still hoping that somehow magically we'll be someplace where there are some, but under normal circumstances we would go to 2 or 3 stores if necessary to find what we were looking for, but right now that's just not the way we operate. We go out, we do our job, and we get home, and then we wash our hands. Really good. So what I have is I think I got about 16 of these little guys, and I'm going to plant them. Now, the bed has not been completely cleared yet, and actually some of what's in the bed is not going to be cleared for a while. There's a few things here that I'm probably going to keep for a while. This little plant over here, right next to my glove, right there, that little fuzzy thing, is, boink, he will not bother me again, is something that I've totally forgotten the name of right now. Yeah, okay. This little fuzzy plant over here is dill. These here are California poppies. Farther down there are plenty more California poppies, probably 1 or 2 dill plants, and a bunch of weeds. The weeds can go, and the weeds that were in here have already gone. But we decided this year that we would let some of the California poppies hang around at least until they bloomed. We had a very poor bloom last year, so I'll make sure that there's plenty in the gravel this year. We really enjoy our poppies. They're amazing. There's some behind me here. And they do all this by themselves. They get no additional water usually. Once in a rare while they'll get a little extra water, but mostly they just do their thing, the same as if they were in the wild. And we really, really have come to appreciate how sturdy they are. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to plant these little onions. Now, we were watching somebody else's YouTube the other day, I forget whom actually, but they were talking about, a couple of them I guess we've listened to lately have talked about, see what you have in your kitchen that you could possibly plant and grow food with. That's what we're doing. So first we're going to start with onions, and we have actually got a couple of other projects in the works too, and as they become more obviously successful, we'll share. But I was actually doing a little research the other day to see what would it take to grow things like lentils and stuff like that. You know, where do they grow lentils? Well, the vast majority of the lentils in North America are grown in Saskatchewan, which is Canada. So that there's a Great Plains section up there. All I'm going to do here with these, push them in just like I am here, and I'm not going to bury them very deep. But we've been looking at, you know, if we need to, could we grow lentils? We know we can grow dried beans. We're actually growing a pole bean this year that can be allowed to go for dried beans or for green beans. So we're going to make a decision once we have some of the green beans, and if we decide we don't care for them as green beans, we're going to grow them as pole beans for dry beans. I think I've heard probably a dozen people on YouTube say that they're going to save seeds this year when they don't usually. There's just a feeling right now that you need to have a little bit more control over your food. And the easiest way to do that is to grow your own. Stash what you can't grow. In fact, just earlier today we had a conversation about that. One of our favorite crazy groups that we listen to in Ireland, way out west, Blow In Blog. God, they're funny. But I guess a couple of years ago, somebody was bugging them about, oh, were they going to be going completely off grid and completely this and completely that and completely the other thing? And the answer was no. They weren't interested in it. They like to be semi-self-sufficient, and they like to cut their overhead by growing as much as they could. But they kind of made a list of all the things they couldn't have. Soil here needs to be roughed up a bit more. There it is. There. Thought I got that deep enough there, and I didn't. There we go. They were talking about what they could grow and what they couldn't grow, basically. Among the serious preppers, that's always a conversation. Because if you're a cigarette smoker, for instance, you better figure out how to grow, process, and use tobacco. If you like coffee or tea, most places in North America, you can't grow coffee or tea. So you either have to find a substitute or have a big stash of it. And several of our friends have talked about that lately. You know, they do grow rice in Texas. I'm trying to think if they grow any in southern Arizona that I've ever seen. They may, but it has to be irrigated. We don't have the capacity for irrigation here, not on that level. So we're not going to be growing rice. So it's kind of one of those, so rice is something I should stash, but I can grow my own potatoes if I have to. Although it will be hard for us to grow enough potatoes for the whole year. On the other hand, we could grow potatoes in the greenhouse over the winter, so that would give us a little bit more flexibility. So it's one of those things that you kind of look at and go, So this is our effort this week to see what we can do about food security. I was just delighted to find these little guys in there. I had totally forgotten about them. I sort of assumed that they were eaten, and they weren't. So great. If they make it, super bonus. Obviously, I'm going to be taking really good care of these guys because that's very cool. I'm going to water these really good, and this will be maintained from now on in terms of water. I'd like to encourage everyone to take a look around their kitchen and see if there's things like this that they could possibly use. There's just a lot of things you can do, at least on a small scale. We did a video with our daughter the other day. She has a little patio as part of the place that they rent, and she's bought herself a tomato and a couple of other plants. In fact, when she called me today, she said, something's eating my cucumber. So we talked about what she could do to possibly stop, because she hasn't found anything on it yet. So, but we talked about the fact that some bugs might only be there at certain times of the day. So giving her some clues as to what she should watch for. But I'm going to water this in, and we're going to see if we can get a little onion patch going here. It's full sun. The soil is relatively decent quality. It's had a lot of compost put into it. It's really dry right now because we haven't been watering this, but that's okay. I'll start watering it every day now. And we'll see if we can get ourselves a little onion patch. I'm still going to keep watching for onion sets. I don't expect to find any, but if I find any, it'll be just like Christmas. I'm still going to be growing my onion seeds, and we'll see what we can do. So far, it has been possible to get onions in the grocery store, but we'll see how that goes in the long run. So, until next time, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, hit that notification button, all those buttons, so that you see what kind of things we're doing, because we've got lots of ideas and we'd like to share them with you. So until next time, bye.